This is Scott Carpenter. Thought I'd do a little video for you on my hike. I guess watch over my shoulder, because a friend at work caught one of the Sasquatch peeking at me a couple years ago when I was flapping my jaws, so maybe another one will show up. Of course, if I look, they're not going to poke their head out, but feel a little pressure. There's one or two watching the trail. There always are. And so what I want to talk about today is, and first let me apologize. I'm getting inundated by letters. Like I say, letters, emails. And I know I've not been responding like I should have, and my apologies. Life, very busy. I get interrupted by a couple hikers and family, I meant, and they had a couple bear dogs in tow. Apparently some bear dogs chased a bear onto the park, and they're properly tagged and marked, and the fella sent a message just using his Garmin with the serial numbers on the tags. So hopefully we can reunite the bear hunters and the dogs when they chase one on the park. Of course, bear hunters have to stop, can't come on the park, and I'm sure they're looking, but it's a pretty public trail. Hopefully they'll get found. So where was I? Oh yeah, watch over my shoulder. This is the creepy area anyway. This is where the portal appeared and all kinds of stuff. In fact, over in here is where my friend spotted that squatch peeking out from around a tree. It was low to the ground. It's all grown up now, but it had like a blowdown and intersecting the tree at the base, and it was raised up, looked at me, or looked around, and it went back down. It was right in here somewhere. But and I was apologizing for not responding to emails like I should. I mean, I let it go for a couple days. There's over 500 in my inbox, and so I'm blueprint, maybe, probably. Yeah, this is a little hot spot. I don't know if the right word for it. There's where everybody gets creeped out, and where I've got video here, this stretch and footprints. So it's an area they like to watch the trail. It's nice and quiet. Not totally silent though, just quiet. Oh, peaceful. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so a lot of people, and I get it, I had trouble with it too, are having issues with what comes along with the Sasquatch subject. In other words, people are having encounters with these beings, these people, but there's also other stuff that happens, and I'm getting emails concerning that. It's like, an example would be, hey, I went out and started doing the Sasquatch research, and then I started having these things start happening around my house. What's going on? And, like I've never had any problems or don't believe in ghosts or any of these things, but I've, seen apparitions, and or I've seen these blue and purple orbs floating in the woods around my house, or we're hearing these weird moans and calls at night coming, from the woods across the field. What's going on? Never had that before. And that's the part where I tell people about the unintended consequences, which I've done half a dozen videos on it to this date, maybe more. But it is an issue, and it does happen, and I don't know, I guess people just don't either listen, or they're like, it won't happen to me, or, well, I don't believe in ghosts or all that stuff, so it's not going to happen to me. And the truth is not reliant on your belief, and that's hard for people to swallow, because they've got a good beat on the world. They've got what they think the world is, what they think reality is in the big picture, and it's hard to be confronted by things that are outside that norm, and it's part of what causes, this is my personal opinion, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not rendering any medical advice, but the PTSD issue is part of that. Is you're being confronted with an event that's so outside the norm for you, and your brain just can't it's just something you can't process. Very difficult to process. And so, it's just one of those things that come along with this phenomenon called Sasquatch. And they are a people, and they live in clans, and they're just like us as far as they're human hybrids. They have emotions, will, intellect. They have motives. If you encounter one, there's probably a whole bunch of stuff going on unrelated to you, and you don't know what's going on in his head. And so but all of these things are interconnected. It's hard for a lot of people to swallow. They want to cordon things off in its own little sections. Sasquatch is in this box. UFOs are in this box. Quote supernatural, like ghosts and apparitions and orbs, are in this box. And these other cryptids, Dogman, and these goat man, these creatures that look like lizards, or these weird looking things that seem to be somebody, a mad scientist in a lab, stuck together and just let loose. That goes in another box. And what everybody's got to realize, I had to realize it, and it kind of, I realized it because it hit me head on, like like a shovel in the face. Boink. And so I didn't have much choice but to deal with it. But you've got to deal with the fact that there's only one box. And take all the boxes I just mentioned and dump them out. And they're all intermixed, intertwined, and related. And that's why 25% of roughly all Sasquatch encounters include a UFO, and vice versa. The old black sheep of the family, Sasquatch hunters, are a thorn for the MUFON boys and our higher educated, learned brethren that study UFOs. But they begrudgingly had to admit that there's a relationship between the two. You know, it goes as far as people have seen Sasquatch on, abductees have reported seeing a Sasquatch on a UFO. And in one case, the witness said Sasquatch was actually piloting the UFO. So I'll scramble your brains. There's your one. So you've got one big box. And so once you realize you got one big box, then some puzzle pieces come together and things kind of make more sense. Because here's a place where I got a picture of Sasquatch looking around a tree at me a few years back. It's really grown up now. Sorry, it's hot and I've got 50-pound backpack on. See that Y? He was over here, but foliage has changed already. This is also where David Pilates and I got hollered at, or two Sasquatch were maybe better hollering at each other in here. Trying to find that little open spot I can see with my eyes. Yeah, I'd freak out if we saw two eyes looking back at us. It's just really thick in there. Let's see, there it is, I think. I got it on autofocus, so yeah, there's that open spot. See, my eyes, that looks really open, but when you zoom in, it's not that open. There's that open spot. Finally. There you go. What would scare us all to death if something jumped out about right now. And I'd poop my britches. So, there was a catching my breath. So the big box has got everything mixed up in it. And I've personally experienced, I know others have, and it's something you have to get your head around if you want to understand this. And it's also something, well, it's the reason why. I mean, there's two reasons why you hear me say, don't do Sasquatch research. Beware of the unintended consequences. When you go searching for the Sasquatch, it's an invitation for them to come look for you, and it's also opens you up to other supernatural and unrelated things. It's related. You think it's unrelated. Let me say this. You think it's unrelated. But other related paranormal means not normal activity to be introduced to your family, to your friends, and around your home or around other places that you go, because you've gone and sought them out, and so you've given, it's like an open invitation. It doesn't matter whether you understand that or not. It's kind of like the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And you may not understand the spiritual law, but it still applies. And so that's what happens to people, is out of ignorance. And I was the same way. You go out and you think you're looking for a bipedal ape, and next thing you know, the bipedal ape's cloaking in front of you. There's a UFO flying overhead with orbs zipping around the woods. And you're like, what the, what is this? And you say, oh, Scott, that's an extreme example. And I guarantee you, I know of 2 or 3 cases where that has been reported. So, all at the same time, basically, or all in the same event. So, no, it's not far-fetched. And no, let me say this. It's almost impossible for me to come up with some crazy example about what could happen that hasn't already happened. That's how crazy this gets sometimes. So that's why, circling back around, what I talked about, what's called the hitchhiker effect. Those military people studying supernatural stuff and these sort of events at Skinwalker Ranch and other locations have had this issue. And it's affected their family and their children. And it's actually affected the health of their families. And these entities have the ability to do some pretty bad things to you. And they can and will. And so this is not nothing to be joked about as far as, let me say this, it's something you need to take serious. I try to lighten it up a little bit and make it not so ominous and dark. Joking was a bad. I'm smelling something. But anyway, keep an eye out on the video. I'm smelling something. But anyway, so you've got to take this seriously. When I say going squatching, going looking for Bigfoot, it's not a fun family activity. Go for a hike. Go for a nature walk. Search for bears. Search for wildlife. Search for flowers. Got a beautiful breeze in this little corridor right now. I can smell half a dozen types of different smells, flowers, trees, foliage. It's wonderful. Concentrate on that. Sasquatch take care of itself, and they don't need to be worried with. There are peoples, they live in the wild. You need to know they exist. You need to kind of treat them. It's like a bear situation. If you ever encounter them, then you just need to don't run, slowly back out. And I've already talked about in other videos how to prep for having multiple plans when you're doing outdoor activities in case you encounter. What's the best thing you can do is remove yourself from the situation, period, in a sentence. That's the answer. So, but I think people need to realize the seriousness of encounters with these creatures and the consequences of that, and that you've got this big box and that can happen. Now I know, I'll answer a couple of emails. L.A. Marzulli is interviewing a man and a woman who have a relationship with a clan of these people, and I think they're telling the truth as far as what they're being told and what they're experienced. And the Sasquatch that they're dealing with have protected this guy from other entities that meant him harm. And he you know, has seen this relationship as beneficial, and he sees them as, you know, assigned or sent by God to protect him. And I don't have enough information to say I agree or disagree with that. All I can say is my experience has not been the same. I think they are descendants of the Nephilim. Do I think there are some good ones? Yes. Do I think the majority of them are benevolent, or probably, I'd say they're neutral to don't care and just want to stay away from us? How's that? And then there's a smaller percentage that would do us harm if given the opportunity, and some do. So, but you know, to answer that, you know, I don't know. I'm not there. I have a problem with them because when I've had the opportunity to have people who can communicate, or who they will communicate with, when they talk to them, and I've asked core questions, like the same set of questions: who are you? Where are you from? Do you believe in, you know, do you believe in God? Do you know who Jesus is? That sort of thing. I get different answers. From California to North Carolina to Florida to New York, I've gotten different answers. No set of Sasquatch have answered those questions the same, which leads me to believe somebody's lying. It's hard for me to believe that there'd be that much discrepancy. There could be, but somebody's not telling the truth. And I know on the UFO side, those who study abductees and what the entities tell people, they're constantly lying to people and telling them all kinds of stuff because it's not true. That's been documented. Dr. Carla Turner spent years documenting that, and that was one of her conclusions, that they're not being truthful and they're being deceptive. For what, you know, what reason, who knows? They have their motives, but there's that. So I'm a live and let live guy, and in this situation, if these people are feeling it's something that God has done and has protected them, then you know, more power to you. I wouldn't recommend it for, you know, I'm not going to do it, and I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. But they're in a unique situation. But if it was me, and you asked my advice, my honest, sincere advice would be, don't have a relationship with them. Don't try to interact with them. Just, you know, don't have a healthy respect, not fear. It's like bears. I have a healthy respect for bears. I'm not, quote, scared to death. Like if I see a bear, I'm not going to just shit my boots. Excuse me. If I see a bear, I'm not going to poop myself and, you know, lose it. I have a healthy respect. Or if you want to call it healthy, a normal fear. One that motivates me to be vigilant and alert. And I think that's the same way that the Sasquatch need to be looked at. So, to kind of recoup here, the Sasquatch and these other things I mentioned are all in the same box. They're not different boxes. They're all interrelated. They're all have the same direction. There's commanders or someone in charge, and that's the same, you know, same person. I think it's satanic at the core. Now everybody's, oh, you just got through saying, yeah, some of them have broken free from that. But here's the problem. Even if they've broken free, they still, because of what they are, have to deal with the influence of these other entities. And these other entities are going to be associated with them. So even if a Sasquatch is good and made the choice, and is doing right, following God, they still have the day, they still have to deal with what they are. Just like when we're born again, we're sinners by nature. God doesn't wipe the sin nature out. He comes in and indwells us. So now you've got the two battling each other. And we have the power to overcome it through the Spirit, through Jesus, who now lives in us. And I kind of see probably the Sasquatch are dealing with the same thing. When they make their choice, they've chosen good, and they may have but they still have what they are. They still have that. They're still Nephilim. They're still going to have the consequences of the fall and the curse, and so they're going to have to deal with the UFOs and the other phenomenon, the demons, the whole thing. So, and when you associate yourself with a Sasquatch, then you're going to expose yourself to those things that the Sasquatch is having to deal with. In other words, it opens the gateway to you through them. And so I think that's very important for you to be aware of. And all this is not to tell anybody what to do, but is to inform and let you know the truth. It's the best I know it. And through my experience and research and what I've gone through, and telling you the truth as I know it, the best of my ability, so that you'll have all the information that you need, that when you if you have to deal with these people, Sasquatch people, then you'll be aware of what's going on. If you're currently dealing with them, enlighten you to think about the possibilities of what you could be opening yourself up to. So I hope that answered some questions. There's a good 2 or 3 dozen emails that in some form or another dwell into that. That's this, I guess, hang on, look at that tree split, almost fell. Broke out. So I get distracted easily. So bottom line, sorry, I was going to go up my normal trail turkey pen, and my gut's telling me don't do it today. Today's not the day to go up that trail, so I'm not going to do it. That doesn't feel right. That over there does not feel right. I feel pressure. I feel the gut screaming, don't go on that trail. So I'm just going to stay on the main trail and walk up that way. So anyway, to kind of close it out, there's, that answers, like I said, the brunt of about 25 or more emails I've gotten recently. And I hope that helps those who have written in. And of course, if you have follow-up questions, go ahead and send emails, and I'll do my best to address them. But I'm going to stop talking and enjoy my hike, here to hike, and just get some fresh air and some exercise. I'm trying to lose this stubborn last 10 pounds on this low carb diet I'm on. 50 pounds down, got 10 more to go. So, and I'm at that plateau they talk about. So, I'm going to finish my hike. Guys, be careful out there. God bless. And until next time, y'all take care of yourselves. you.